Abuamerican. Hey, check it out. Just had a conversation. We were talking about immigration again. And in my anti-immigration video, I did provide the problems but not a solution. And I do believe that you have to be solution-oriented. So let's revisit this real quick. I'm not only against immigration from non-practicing Muslims. I'm anti-immigration in general. And why? This mass immigration is very, very problematic. What happens is this. If you bring in a few number of people over a long period of time, those people, they're isolated. And to end that isolation, that social isolation, and we are social beings, they're going to have to go out and integrate with the people. They're going to have to learn the language. They're going to have to learn the culture and what is socially acceptable and unacceptable. So the behaviors that might be acceptable in their country, they come to find out very quickly that, you know what, I can't do that here. And so when you bring in mass numbers of people from one culture, tens of thousands of them, they group together, they speak their language, they behave just like they did in their home country because they're amongst their own people. And what they'll do is they'll end up turning your country into their country. And they left their country because they messed up their country. But when you stagger it, they have no choice but to fit in, to learn the new culture, learn the new society. And when they see how their people are behaving in light of the new society, they're going to put pressure on the newcomer and say, hey, look, man, you can't behave like that. We're not at home. If you want to behave like that, go back home. So anyway, moving on in terms of solutions. Now, I'm just going to use Syria because it's the most readily available and simple, cut and dry solution. Example I can give. Syria, those people, they need to stay in their country. What needs to happen is military intervention, but not in terms of overthrowing these groups and bombings like the Russians are doing and trying to put one group above the other. That's not your business. That's not your problem. That's their problem. Let them sort that out. They need to fight that out. What you do is you cordon off with a military coalition, preferably. They cordon off a part of the country, a very large swath of land, and say, hey, look, you don't come past this line with any sort of military force. You don't approach it. You don't fly over it. You don't come close to us. Refugees can come here, unarmed civilians. They can set up. We'll take all our money that we're using that we would have used to bomb you people, which is in the hundreds of millions, if not billions. And we're going to build camps for people to stay in. Now, you build that camp, you protect those people, and then when the war is over, whoever wins. Don't be involved in that. We saw what happened in Iraq with Saddam, in Libya with Gaddafi. Nothing good has come from just intervening in these people's mess. Leave them to their mess. And if another dog or rabid animal comes out of it, then that's what they get. And if the people don't like it, the people in the refugee camp don't like it, after stability is returned under this animal, they say, hey, why didn't you go out there and fight for what you wanted? This is what you've got. It's stable now. We're leaving. And you leave. And if a war kicks off, you do the same thing again. You go, overwhelming force, take over a section of country, refugees stay here, and eventually they'll get the idea that, you know what, this is a pattern, and the local people will be like, we need to fight back, we need to fight for what's in our best interests, or we need to support those who have our best interests, and eventually it'll stop. In my humble opinion. I might be wrong, but this is just a brainstorming idea on a potential solution. That they need to be refugees in their own country. And we should support them in that. But I don't think we should be letting them in by tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands. Germany's going to take in something like 80,000 a year. That's just ridiculous. You can't do that. They're going to wreck your country. They're going to turn Germany into that same ghetto hellhole that Syria has become. And you can't have that. You can't have that. It doesn't even have to be Syrians. It could be, I don't know, what's that place in Africa? CAR, Central Republic or whatever. They're having problems down there. You can't bring people in like this and just drop them in the middle of Europe with these, very different and divergent cultures. It's not going to work. Anyway, that's just a brainstormer idea. Maybe you guys got a better idea of potential solutions. I'm sure a lot of people disagree with me, but let me know. Drop it in the comment section. This is your man, Abuamerican. I'm out.